Welcome to the Roll Call Podcast. I'm Joe McGuire along with JJ Vargas and Lucas Baldock. Well, last night, I mean, what a disaster that ended up being, and it didn't have to be. The Yankees lost this game 7-5, and while Giancarlo Stanton obviously has been the talk of the town for Yankee fans, last night, the 18 strikeouts we'll get to, but Aaron Boone, we talked about this. We were so excited to see Deivi Garcia getting a shot, showing some faith in this young guy. It was just a ploy. This was just to try to get the Rays to stack up lefties in the lineup. You know, earlier in the year, they played 9 lefties against the Red Sox, first time in baseball history an all left-handed lineup had ever been put forth. And so he was getting fun. He was hoping to mess with the platoons, and in doing so, brought in Happ for the second inning. And like anytime you outmanage yourself, I think you're going to expect JJ exactly what happened. It blew up in his face spectacularly.
It really did, and it was a bad sign for him to take Deivi Garcia out after one inning. I think if I told you yesterday in the show, if Deivi Garcia was going to give up a solo home run in his debut, none of us would be surprised. I think, well, maybe he'll get dinged up, in that first inning, maybe a couple nerves. And I don't think there was much damage done in the first inning besides the single shot for him to get pulled. Like, now I understand if it would have been a multi-run home run for Deivi Garcia, then maybe he should have pulled him. But there was no reason for him to get pulled that early. I think he might have shaken his confidence. I don't think it really bothered Deivi much. Maybe getting pulled bothered him a little bit, but he didn't look like he was too bothered by the fact that he got pulled. But then when you see Happ go up there and stunk it up the way he did in contrast, really reflected on the move that Aaron Boone made.
Yeah, my opinion kind of on the whole situation, if this, say, did work out, then we'd be having a completely different conversation right now. We'd be saying, wow, Aaron Boone, he's a genius. Look at this move he did. JA Happ went in there and he tossed 5 scoreless innings, but that's not what happened. JA Happ went in there and, down on the bottom of the screen, Joe had JA Happ surprised. I didn't catch what he said after the game, but I'm assuming that means he wasn't aware of the plan.
No, nobody was, Lucas. Apparently, this was something that Aaron Boone came up with all on his own. He told Deivi Garcia expected to be a short outing. And for some reason, only Aaron Boone knew that he meant one inning, regardless of outcome, one inning. And he was immediately, this is why I say he outmanaged himself last night. You've got the hottest team in baseball, averaging almost 10 runs a game, or actually over 10 runs a game in the postseason. And last night, you start playing like Tampa Bay's game, trying to mess with the righty-lefty matchups and the platoons, and that's where Aaron Boone's mind was at yesterday. That was the whole reason why he started Deivi Garcia, who you've now taken out of the rotation for this week. You ran Happ out there, who was really angry last night. Didn't know that was coming. Would have preferred to come in as a starter. So he rankled some people. Now, you don't have Happ in Game 3. I don't understand this strategy at all. Had he gone with Garcia, as we talked about yesterday, you got 4 or 5, maybe 6 innings out of the kid. You're right, Lucas. We'd be having a completely different conversation. You've got the best team in baseball. Why you didn't just go out there and try to club your way to a win? And the crazy thing is as well as Tyler Glasnow pitched, the Yankees were in the game.
Yeah. So one thing I really didn't understand was, we won Game 1. So there was no reason to kind of shuffle everything around like Aaron Boone did, seemingly out of nowhere and unexpectedly to anyone but Deivi Garcia. And I'm sure the one inning, like Joe said, even caught him by surprise. And, one of the reasons we were still in that game was Giancarlo Stanton. He was responsible for all 4 of our runs on 2 home runs. And then, it's just so frustrating to see just what happened. And now Now the pitching it's so questionable throughout the rest of the series because we've used 2 starting quality pitchers in one game.
Yeah, Boone managed this game too as if he was down 0-1 in the series. Like to Lucas's point, why the shuffling around thing, that's yet to be explained. I don't think he can really explain his way out of it because he lost the game, and that's what we look at the end of the day. So yeah, not only did we lose Happ for game 3, but Ottavino went out there last night. We won't have him available as well. So we gotta really make sure that depending on how long Tanaka goes tonight, that you send the right guys after him to make sure that we have the right bodies available for a possible game 4.
I think you need 6 innings out of Tanaka tonight, like at an absolute minimum. If he doesn't go 6 tonight, I think the Yankees are in trouble, regardless of the score, because again, you're looking at the prospect now of Jordan Montgomery starting in game 4, or a bullpen game for that matter. Yeah. And then at best on Friday, you're either bringing in Garrett Cole on 3 days rest, which he's never, ever done in his life, which he refused to do last year as an Astro in Game 6 of the American League Championship Series against our very own Yankees.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now. The rotation went from being laid out, and you had 3 guys who had been throwing the ball really well.
Yeah.
And now, again, you're in kind of a pickle because Aaron Boone was trying to be cute. He was trying to be all smart, trying to play the analytics game, play the baseball game.
Yeah. Yeah, he really did shoot himself in the own foot. This is a big self-inflicted wound on the Yankees' part, and it's really gonna. Hopefully, it doesn't hurt them down the series, but I think that we will probably feel the immediate effects of it if Tanaka ends up having a bad outing and the body starts to see him less and less when we need them out there.
Yeah, something I really didn't understand, especially after the end of the first, when we tied the game, I thought, oh, there's no way that the TV's going to come back on and JA Happ's going to be on the mound. I was like, Garcia has to be out there, and he wasn't. And from that point on, I just knew at that point it was kind of just like, oh boy, this isn't good. I just didn't trust it, and I guess I had the right feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, it's been a lot of home runs. I don't know if anybody quite expected Tampa to do what Tampa's doing. These aren't superstars that are hitting the home runs, and I think that's the shocking part. I love this headline. Any other bright ideas? The Yankees surprise opener plan fails as Rays win game 2. Nice job on the Daily News. This whole thing was really confusing. Again, you left 2 young guys, you left 2 pitchers on your staff rankled. You also completely messed up the rotation. And again, I can't understand what the thought process was, or if he just assumed it was all going to work out so perfectly, which
it didn't, right?
Yeah, I mean, this really puts the Yankees in a tough spot. And again, I think if you would have just played the baseball game where I either just started Happ or started Garcia and let it play out, clearly Glasnow looked great. Clearly, Giancarlo Stanton does not care who was on the mound. Giancarlo Stanton is as hot as anybody is in baseball. And I'll tell you what, if Aaron Boone wants to outmanage himself, I've got one for you, Booney. I've got one for you. I've got something for you to ponder. You want to get all crazy and cute. Why don't you move the hottest hitter in your lineup up and drop Aaron Judge down? Because Aaron Judge had multiple opportunities in this series, had a big spot. He could have tied the game last night, and he's come up empty. And I love Aaron Judge, don't get me wrong, but how long does this happen?
Yeah, I think we were hoping for Aaron Judge to have a big last at bat last night with 2 guys on base. He could have really changed that game with one big swing, considering, he's the other tower to the twin tower analogy with him and Stanton in the lineup. Stanton has definitely been delivering his end of the bargain. Meanwhile, Aaron Judge has been really cold. And we got to give credit to Stanton because before the series started, we're talking about what does Stanton have to do to get the recognition, to get the love as a Yankee. And right now, he's really been their only source of offense. I'm a big Mr. Big Chest guy. Luke Voigt has been very cold as well in this series right now, and that's a little concerning for me. So I'm glad that Giancarlo Stanton is active and as he is delivering these runs at the moment, because we will be lost without him.
Yeah, so obviously we're grateful, like you guys are saying, for guys like Giancarlo and all those who are coming through. But people like Judge, Sanchez, Voigt, who have been quiet this series, they really their bats need to come alive. And I mean, we all know the case with Sanchez. It's kind of home run or bust with him at this point. He struck out on 3 pitches last night in the 9th inning, and he just looks bad. But Judge has got to start hitting, because Judge has the ability to hit more than just a home run.
All right.
He can be.
Somebody help me out here. The Yankees lineup card is out for tonight.
Oh, boy.
And once again, he's just got to get it now. It's time to stop being nice here to Aaron Boone. LeMahieu leads off. Aaron Judge bats second. Here's the thing. In his career against Charlie Morton, the starter for the Rays tonight, Aaron Judge is 1 for 13. The one's a home run. It was a solo shot. 9 strikeouts. That's an .077 batting average.
He's due.
Hicks.
Bro. He's
Hicks
due.
is batting. Hold on. Hicks is batting third. He's 3 for 15 against Morton. That's a 200 average. He's got Luke Voigt, Mr. Big Chest, who's 1 for 7 in his career. Doesn't have a home run off of Charlie Morton, but a 143 average. Meanwhile, the hottest guy in your lineup, Giancarlo Stanton, batting 5th, is a lifetime 346 hitter off Charlie Morton. He's 9 for 26 with a home run. Can somebody tell me what – I mean, when it comes to analytics, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I don't understand that. But to me, I look at that. The hottest guy in your lineup right now, you've got him hitting 5th behind a guy who's struggling and who has not hit the guy who's starting for the Rays tonight. What is Aaron Boone doing right now? I'm confused. Anybody want to help me here?
Can you finish 6 through 9 since you stopped at 5? If you don't
Yes.
mind.
No, I will.
I'm just curious.
Urshela, who's 0 for 9 in his career against Charlie Morton. Glaber hits 7th. He's 3 for 12. Gardner, who's got a 364 lifetime average and 3 home runs off Morton, is hitting 8th. And this shouldn't come as any shock. Kyle Higashioka will be catching Masahiro Tanaka tonight. So that is your lineup. Charles commenting, Sanchez complete waste, defensive liability. Boone should put up a chair behind the plate. Boone is a boob. Yes, 100%. I mean, you've got a great baseball team here. What are you trying to do? You don't have to outmanage Kevin Cash. The only way Kevin Cash and the Rays can beat you is if they outmanage you.
Yeah.
So he's got this all wrong. He's overthinking things.
Yeah, and to your point, Joe, Aaron Boone's making it easy for him to be outmanaged right now. I mean, Kevin Cash, we think of him like he's the guy who kind of introduced the opener and all that crap. And Aaron Boone's just trying to he's not, I wouldn't even say he's trying to outmanage Kevin Cash. He's trying to like out strategize. I don't even know what to call it. He's trying to
out Pizza the Hut. That's right. What he's doing.
He's trying to do all this. He's trying to do all this fancy stuff, and just like Joe says, play the game of baseball.
This is not the time to be experimenting with lineups and things.
No,
you got to go with what's brought you here this far, And maybe that's what he's thinking. He has these guys that he's customary to have in Judge at the 2. It's done well for you, so why fix was not broken? I get the analytical part in your sense. Giancarlo's hot, but he's been hot from the 5. So,
but if you live and die by analytics, then live and die by analytics. I mean, to put Aaron Judge, who's struggling, in the 2-hole against a guy he can't hit in his career makes 0 sense, especially when you pulled that nonsense last night with the pitchers. That made no sense.
If you're moving Judge away from the 2, then you're telling him you're not ready to hit this guy.
Then fine, you're not ready to hit this guy. The numbers are there, JJ. But the numbers are there.
To hit anybody. He's good enough to hit anybody, and you know this. So why will you break his confidence? Why will you tell the guy that can change a game?
Why is Gary Sanchez not in the lineup tonight?
Are you trying to compare Aaron Judge
I
and
am.
Gary
Yes,
Sanchez
I
right
am
now?
because
You know Gary Sanchez is
Aaron
sorry
Judge
right
has
now.
done
So
nothing
you
more than
compare
Gary Sanchez has.
to Judge is sorry, and you know you shouldn't do that to Judge because Judge and Gary Sanchez are on two different levels at the moment.
Nonsense.
Yes, nonsense. Are you kidding me?
Nonsense. And their numbers in the postseason are similar. So again, if you're gonna criticize Sanchez, you can't give a pass to Judge. It doesn't work for me.
It does work.
It doesn't work.
You don't see Judge making the defensive lapses that Sanchez does. And the bat is more consistent on Judge's side, and we both know that.
He's hitting $125, and again had a chance to be a hero last night, just like he did last year in Game 6 of the American League Championship Series. Right after LeMahieu homered, he made an out.
Who do you feel more comfortable in that position, Aaron or Gary?
I don't want to pick either guy. I want Giancarlo Stanton up there.
You're picking Aaron Judge. Tell the fans.
I'm not picking Aaron Judge. I'm picking someone other than the two options I have.
You're running from the conversation. You know you'd rather have Judge at the
I don't want Aaron Judge hitting second. I don't want him hitting second.
You want Gary Sanchez hitting
not
second?
Doing anything. No, I don't. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. I don't want that. No, I want Giancarlo Stanton hitting second.
And I get that. But I'm going back to your point. You're saying that Sanchez will be better at plate than Judge when we both.
No, I didn't. I never said that. I said if you're going to punish Gary Sanchez, you're going to sit Gary, you're going to bat him ninth when he does hit. How do you not do the same thing when Aaron Judge isn't helping?
Judge is more valuable than Gary.
But he's not producing. And there's guys who are producing. Why don't you move those guys up?
Well, he's more prone to produce than Gary.
But he's not producing, period.
But you're taking away his opportunity.
You're doing the same thing to Gary.
But Gary has give you a reason not to give him a chance. Judge.
So is Judge. So is Judge for me right now.
Then
Aaron Judge has had so many opportunities.
That's where you're
at.
Up. I'm not there, but that's where you're at.
I just would rather see him move down in the lineup right now. And again, when you're looking at the numbers that Gardner has in his career against Morton, when you look at the numbers that Stanton has in his career against Morton, to me, it just makes sense. Again, if you're going to live and die by analytics, and that's what last night was. The Garcia Happ thing was all analytics driven. It was stupid. But again, right, my point is if you're going to live and by the analytics say Aaron Judge doesn't hit 2 tonight. He just doesn't. It's not a good matchup for him. Now, can I be wrong? Could Aaron Judge hit 3 home runs off Charlie Morton tonight? Yeah, you're right, JJ. He can. He's given me no reason to think he would.
I would love nothing more. Just like coming here tomorrow. Yes,
absolutely. JJ, I would if tomorrow's show starts with you berating me for doubting Aaron Judge after a 3 home run performance and a win, I'll take it. I will. I'll take my lumps.
Yeah.
I'll even apologize to Aaron Boone for questioning him. And I'll say that I won't, and that'll last for, 3 or 4 days. Okay? Because I'm just trying to be honest here. Again, this team is so analytics driven that to see that lineup, it's like he focuses on the wrong things to apply the analytics to. If I'm understanding all of this stuff correctly, again, to me, you know how I feel about Brett Gardner. I think Gardner should be leading off tonight. He has destroyed Charlie Morton in his career. Why is he not hitting first?
I get it, but I don't care the numbers. I'm not changing LeMahieu for Gardner at starting.
I would hit Gardner first, LeMahieu second, Stanton third, Voit fourth, and then fill it in from there. I don't even care how you do it.
You're putting Judge at 5, at least 5. Oh,
he can hit 5th. That's fine, but he shouldn't be. The reason he hits second is because you want your 2 guy now. It used to be your 3 guy was your best hitter in a lineup. Now it's the 2 guy. You want to get him the extra at bats, and I get all that.
Yeah.
And I would be fine if Gardner let off. Again, he's always hit Charlie Morton. He's got more home runs than anybody else on this roster against Charlie Morton, which is amazing.
He's also been around the longest.
Fair enough. LeMahieu slots, but look at the at-bats. It's not like he has a tremendous amount more at-bats than anybody else. He just hits Charlie Morton better. The lefty-righty matchup works there. With Judge so far, it hasn't worked out at all. So, again, I want to put this team in a position to win. I'd like to see the first 3 batters tonight have been Gardner, LeMahieu, Stanton. Those are 3 guys who are already playing well in the postseason and who have great numbers against Charlie Morton. Again, if you insist on Judge hitting 4th, great, but him hitting second doesn't make sense right now.
I get your point.
And if you're going to do, I guess, JJ, what I'm saying is if you're going to make drastic moves, like what he did last night with Garcia and Happ and then ruin the rotation and the bullpen for the rest of the week, why wouldn't you apply that same thing to a guy who right now has been in big spots? Think about last night. If Stanton had been hitting second, he would have been up last night with a chance to win the game. And again, we might be having a different conversation right now. And listen, I love Aaron Judge. I'm not down on Aaron Judge, but I said when this whole thing started, this team goes as far as he does. Can you imagine if Giancarlo was playing like he's playing right now and Aaron Judge was doing something similar? They'd be steamrolling teams.
That will be the difference. We still would have. We're 3-1. We've lost one game. So what would be the difference? We'll be 4-0. You know, like I get your point. We'll be 4-0 instead of 3-1. Okay, I get it. We're struggling in the playoffs right now, Joe. Things have gone really awry. Sorry, it's like that. But you know, I get your point. Why put those guys more productive in the front of the lineup? I think the way that I'm looking at it.
He's coming after me hard tonight, Lucas, isn't he?
I think the way I see it, the guys that are struggling are still seeing their cups halfway full. I think that they're due to, like, we're struggled so much, we're just due to have a good at-bat soon against this guy that's been dominating us. Meanwhile, the guys that have done good should probably continue to do well and will do well where they're at in the lineup. So instead of putting all the good guys up front that, you know, get their dues and then having the guys that are yet to get theirs just pending, I just think it just allows the thing like, all right, we're just waiting our turn because we know we struggle, so we're just waiting to see what the good guys go, and then what do we do is just fucking potatoes and stuff. Pardon my language.
Oh boy, I don't even know where to start. I'm still here, in case everyone is wondering. I haven't spoken in about 8 minutes or so. Boy. I think Judge, Joe, for now at least, and I know you're not going to like this, but I think Judge is fine is where he's at. And I know Stanton is hitting good, but he's hitting good at the 5, and the people ahead of him.
I don't think where he's hitting makes a difference. I think if he was hitting 1st or 9th or 10th or just in BP, he'd be doing the same thing. I can't agree with the batting position. I think that's nonsense. Again, if you were willing to take Gary Sanchez out of the lineup, put him back into the lineup, take him out, bat him 9th. If you're willing to move some guys around but not others, now you're showing favoritism. Now you have 2 young guys who came up through the minor league system together. You're building your team around them. One's struggling. One's just struggling now. One's been struggling for the last 2 years. Both young superstars in baseball and 2 of the best players at their positions. But why are you treating one so much differently than the other? I have a problem with that. And I'm not going to buy into some of these excuses. I don't think they hold any water.
I'll agree to your point, Joe, that they shouldn't be held at different standards for now because they're both performing poorly. But I get JJ's point when he's saying in a situation, any given game, throw 2 men on base, 2 outs, we're down by 1 or down by 2. Who do you want at the plate, Judge or Sanchez? I'll take Judge every time out of 10.
Listen, at no point in Gary Sanchez's career has he been discussed as an MVP. That's just the value that Aaron Judge brings compared to Gary. Is Gary possibly the best player in his position? Sure. I'll give Gary that. He definitely has the swing for it. But Aaron Judge has been a defensive player in his respective position as well, and that position has a lot more depth than catcher does. So, like I said, the value is just different between Gary and Judge in that particular conversation.
Okay. So Aaron Judge in the postseason is 2 for 19 with 2 homers, 3 RBI, and 8 strikeouts. He's got a batting average of 105. Incidentally, Gary Sanchez in the postseason is 1 for 8 with a home run and 3 RBIs. He's actually got a batting average of 125. So he's actually outplaying Aaron Judge right now. I mean, he's actually outproduced Aaron Judge.
He has 11 less at bats, Joe.
Yes, that's right. Judge has had more opportunities and he's produced less. And that's problematic.
But look at the.
Like I said, the Yankees can't win this series without Aaron Judge, and I'm serious.
I agree.
Stat line is not getting it done. Another 0 for 4 tonight, hitting out of the 2-hole. You could be down 2-1, and now things will be really serious. And as Teddy points out, yes, 18 strikeouts last night.
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to Glasnow for that one though, because he really is a magician at what he does. And this Yankee team had to come more prepared to hit him. So
look, they had him on the ropes, and Gio Urshela and Gleyber Torres came up after the second Stanton home run. The guy's on the ropes, and I saw 6 of the worst pitches in my life to those two. That was shockingly disappointing. Marcus Timms ought to call somebody back after and be like, "Hey, guy's on the ropes. Don't swing at garbage."
Yeah,
horrible at bats. And then the whole next inning. Oh, I think he struck out to side the next inning. It was embarrassing. I mean, you had this guy on the ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed almost like that locked him in even more, as little sense as that makes. I don't know. Maybe he just thought like these guys they're coming up after a 3-run home run and they're gonna want to swing the bat away. So I'm just gonna give them some of my best breaking stuff, and I'm gonna make them look silly.
They locked him in because they let him, because they stuck it up so bad.
By the way, Gleyber Torres in the postseason has a .462 average, a home run, and 3 RBI. Brett Gardner, who is 4 for 10, is hitting .400. Hicks has been hitting pretty well, .357. Kyle Gasioka, .333. Giancarlo Stanton, 5 hits in 15 at-bats, 6 runs scored, 5 homers, 11 RBI, 20 total bases, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. He's been a stud. LeMahieu's hitting .300, .294 for Urshela. Voit and Frazier both hitting .286. The guys that really aren't producing right now are Sanchez and Judge. Otherwise, everybody else is hitting.
Another fun stat for Giancarlo Stanton. He's the first Yankee hitter to hit 4 home runs in 4 straight postseason games since the great Reggie Jackson.
That's right. Oh, my goodness. It's funny. I remember that as a child. The craziest part about those Reggie Jackson 3 home run game at Yankee Stadium was the first home run came off of Charlie Huff on the first pitch he saw. The second home run was another Charlie Huff pitch. First pitch swinging. Third at bat was another pitcher. First pitch, home run. So literally 3 at bats, 3 pitches, 3 home runs. Reggie certainly had a flair for the dramatic. And I think that Giancarlo Stanton is really the Reggie Jackson of this Yankee team. You know, he's the big superstar. You went out, you brought him in here. You've got some of your young homegrown talent at the time. Thurman Munson would have been maybe one of those guys. So
he's definitely the lightning rod of this team for sure.
Oh, yeah. Listen, again, I don't mean to be overly critical of Aaron Judge. As I do love Aaron Judge, and I don't want to fight with you about it, JJ.
We just expect a lot of him. I get it.
He to me, this team goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Even if they could get through this series somehow, they're not getting
harder.
Houston or the Dodgers if their best player, and I say that, he's their best player. No doubt about it. As good as LeMahieu is, as good as Voit is, as great as Stan's playing right now, Gleyber, Urshela, it's still Aaron Judge. And that's why I said going in, this team goes as far as the Judge takes them.
Yeah, one thing I'll say for sure is winning this series ultimately is going to fall on the Yankees bats just being hot and putting up runs. We need to put up 6 or more runs every single game, because I think that, the inconsistency with the pitching outside of Garrett Cole, and I don't know what we've seen from Tanaka through his one start, can't really put him in that Garrett Cole 1-2 punch kind of thing yet. So I think we have to put up 6 or more runs every game, because outside of Garrett Cole, we kind of can't rely on our pitching to hold any offense scoreless or even down in the low 3s, 2-1s.
The crazy thing is we've seen Tanaka throw a one-hit shutout against the Tampa Rays. And so we know he's capable of those sorts of things. He's also capable of giving up 4 runs in 3 innings.
Yeah.
Generally, in the postseason, he pitches well. Obviously, he pitched poorly against Cleveland. But I'll tell you what, and I thought the same thing last night when the Yankees got themselves behind. I thought, if this team's got any mettle, if there's any character to this team, this is a championship team. They'll claw back into the game. And I'll say this again, kudos to the Yankees last night, because for all of the mismanaging Aaron Boone did, to still have had a chance to win the game in the 9th inning is all you could ask for.
Yeah.
It's all you can ask for. And so I don't know why the overmanaging. It's so messed the rotation up so badly that I'm not sure how they can recover from this. And I'm really concerned about Garrett Cole on Friday on 3 days rest and whether that's a conversation Aaron Boone's even had with him at this point. Because he like I said, he told AJ Hinch last year in Houston, pitch game 7. We'll be fine.
Yeah, but he's a Yankee now, so I think it's different.
I like to think that means something. I just don't know if it does. I mean, again, the other thing too is he's never done it before. And typically when guys have never done something before, they're not going to instantly be great at it.
And
so there's got to be concern there.
The star that
Cole.
Right. The star that Cole is, I mean, he should be out there on 3 days rest, but who's to say that he doesn't look at Aaron Boone coming up to him and saying, hey, I think we're going to throw you out there for a game 5. And Cole kind of looking at how Boone's mismanaged this series so far and just being like, why should I trust you? Why should I let you put me out there on short rest in a game 5 situation?
Screw that. I think he's going to see it as, that's why the hell I came here. Save this damn franchise. Get number 28. That's why he wanted to be here, and that's why he's going to pitch.
I hope so. I hope that's the case.
We'll see. We're going to find out. We're going to find out what happens. But I'm telling you, they got to win the game tonight, or
it all starts with a strong outing from Tanaka tonight. If Tanaka gives us a strong outing and minimize the arms we use tonight, it'll tell us what position we're in going into game 4, and it really could depend whether we're up 2-1 or down 1-2 on what he does.
I think what we really need tonight is 2 things. You just mentioned the first one, Tanaka with an outstanding start, Aaron Judge with at least 2 hits.
Yeah, I agree.
He's got to get going. I'm telling you, if you look at the box score, if Aaron Judge gets on base just a little bit more, this team's scoring 8 runs a game minimum.
Yeah,
it's just going to happen. So it's imperative that he turns things around, and that happens sooner than later. And as I said, I will totally apologize tomorrow. I will admit I was wrong if he comes through. And if Tanaka pitches great, then Aaron Boone is off my hook, and I'll leave him alone.
I'm praying that you're on your knees apologizing to JJ tomorrow. I really do. I would love nothing more than to see Aaron Judge have a monster game.
Yeah. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the other series real quick. Houston Astros, they're doing their part. Up 2-0. They beat the A's 5-2 behind a couple home runs from Springer. I know you guys don't love this, but I think Houston is, again, to be the man, you got to beat the man. I want Houston. I think if you're Tampa, you want to see Houston on the other end of this, and they're certainly living up to it.
I'm not happy about it. I hate Houston, so I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I've already said my piece on this show before. I don't agree, Joe. I don't want to see them there. But if I will admit, if we do see them there, hopefully we don't. Not because I'm scared, because I don't want them to succeed. I hope we whoop their ass.
I would say I think my attitude would be different if we were also up 2-0 and the matchup was just pending at this point. But the fact that we're 1-1, and if they were to advance, they just have that extra day's rest on us.
Yeah,
it just sits ugly on my, because it's like, damn, they're winning again. It's like, damn, we got to play an extra game. Meanwhile, they get to rest while we're playing. It's like they're cheating again in a way, and I can't stand it.
Atlanta Braves won their opening game against the Miami Marlins. Ronald Acuna Jr. got hit by a pitch, and apparently it really set the Braves off. They were trailing in that when they came back to win. So they are up 1-0. And last night, the Dodgers. LA didn't get its first hit until the 6th inning, if you could believe that. And yet still somehow, well, I guess it was the 9 walks. Poor Padres. Clevenger started the game last night. He only went 1 inning, but it wasn't like some genius move that they were working on. He was actually injured, which is probably the only reason you should ever take your starter out after 1 inning, unless he's getting it handed to him.
And the Padres, they had a kid last night who made his MLB debut, believe it or not.
Yeah, we've actually seen that now twice in this postseason, guys. Who it's again, 2020 is going to be the weirdest year on record. But yeah, Tampa Bay also had a guy last week in their wild card series who made his major league debut and became the first pitcher in Major League history to make his debut in the postseason game, which is so weird that can even happen. Because the interesting thing is, I kind of want to shoehorn this in real quick. Domingo Germán has been reinstated by the commissioner's office.
Yeah.
However,
can't be in the playoffs.
Can't be in the postseason because he was on the suspended list on the 15th, which makes me wonder, were these other guys on postseason rosters that have been making their way in their debuts? I don't understand that. You just have to be on the 28-man.
Yeah, that doesn't make that's a little confusing.
I'm confused. I'm going to do a little research on that. But, I mean, I'll tell you what, right now, a Domingo Germán would be such a difference maker if you're the New York Yankees, and that's a luxury that you missed out on because he's a blockhead and did whatever he did. And I hope someday we get that story. I'm so curious exactly what he did, and then not to ever excuse anything, but it must have been really, really bad and really severe. I know there was some sort of domestic violence dispute. And again, not to excuse it or talk about it in as far as severity's sake. You saw Ray Rice, for instance, punch his fiance cold, knocked her out in an elevator. From what I heard, it didn't seem like that was the situation here. But now to think that this guy's gone through what he has, he must have done something. It must have been something similar. I'm assuming there must have been a fist involved, because this guy certainly paid quite a punishment.
Yeah. Talking about he's suspended basically for a whole year. So,
yeah.
And it's really hurt the Yankees in the last 2 postseasons. So, a selfish, foolish act by him, and it couldn't have hurt this team anymore. So, maybe we'll see Domingo Germán next year. It'll be interesting to see how they play that. Meanwhile, are the games already started? There's probably a couple games already going on, right? Houston
we got
locked in at 2.
Yeah, we got 2. It's 2-2 Oakland and Houston. They're tied up, and then the Braves are leading the Marlins 2-0 in the 6th or the 7th.
Interesting. All right. Yanks start at 7:10 tonight on TBS. Dodgers and the Padres will be on at 9:08 on FS1. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully talking about how wrong I am about everything. Tanaka will have been lights out. Aaron Judge, maybe a couple dingers, maybe a hard hit, scorching double down the line. But let's see if this team gets back on track, figure out the rotation beyond that. JJ, this is like our first fight, buddy.
Well, on camera fight, at least.
Hey, that's
JJ giving up the secrets.
That makes for some good TV, though. I'll tell you that. I was having an entertaining time watching you guys go back and forth at the top of my screen.
We appreciate everybody who was watching. I know Jace Garcia, who I'll be doing Joining About the G-Men with coming up at 6:00 tonight. He really seemed to embrace that. And it's funny because on that show, I attack Jace mercilessly every single week. And I'm going to, again, because here's a little teaser for that show. Giants are playing the Cowboys, and Jace is picking the Giants. I'm going to start mocking you now, Jace, until we get to that show, just because. Make sure you visit us at clovercrestmedia.com/The Roll Call Podcast. We have nearly 30 podcasts on the CMG Podcast Network. If you can't find one you like, do what a lot of us did. Start your own. You You can also check us out on Facebook at the Roll Call Podcast. We're also on Instagram by that same name, and you can check us out on the Twitter. If you like to tweet, hit us up at the Roll Call Show. Well, that is going to do it for this special edition of the Roll Call Podcast for JJ Vargas and Lucas Baldock. I am Joe Aguirre. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Roll Call Podcast.
Can I get a roll call? Let's get it on. Hit the field, let's play ball. Come on home, we stand tall. Oh yeah, we back. Oh yeah, we back. 2020 division, Yanks back on the train track. Had to let the chances go, but we welcome it, Garrett Cole. Judge back with the guy, we're bringing Giancarlo up on these corners. Look at the information they gonna K back awesome. Boy in the shelter, they on the corners with your wrestler man. You seeing Chesto play too. Severino in rotation, packs to throwing K's too. Fully loaded, we got the airleys wide open. One game at a time, we stay focused. Bronx Bombers on a mission. World Series chasing, taking the division. No time for wasting. Again, first placing.